parents, grandparents, future parents, uncles, aunts, anybody with a child in their life, listen up. This is a very, very cool, fun, maybe a little controversial game that I like to play with my children to help them listen to their sixth sense. So we all have a sixth sense, right? We see somebody out in the world and we think to ourselves, they are not a trustworthy person for whatever reason. It could be a million different reasons, right? But we have a hard time listening to that because one, we can't quantify why they are shady or they're not trustworthy. And two, we're too nice. We try to over rationalize things and say, oh, it's just me, or oh, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. And yes, everybody deserves the benefit of the doubt. But at the same time, there are certain people out in the world that you need to keep your eye on, and you need to teach your kids this. And for some adults, we have a hard time listening to this too. So listen up, adults as well. But my kids and I, we play this thing called the Shady Character Game. So we'll be driving around or walking around, and this is most important in like an urban environment where there might be a heavy gang population, there might be a heavy drug issue, there might be a heavy homeless presence. So big cities, but also small cities too have this stuff. We look at an individual and we say, is that person somebody that we have to keep our eye on? Are they a shady character? And a lot of times my kids will say, yes, they're a shady character. And I'll say, well, why? Why are they a shady character? What makes them a shady character? And one person that we were looking at earlier, my daughter said, oh yeah, he's a shady character. He had his shirt off and he was riding a bike and he had a backpack on and he just kind of looked a little weird, right? And I said, well, why is he a shady character? And she goes, well, he has his shirt off. And I said, does having his shirt off alone make him a shady character? And she said, yeah. And right as that was happening, across the street was a guy jogging and he had his shirt off. And I said, is he a shady character? And she said, no. I said, why not? She goes, I don't know. He looks like he's just going for a jog. So I said, okay, so having your shirt off alone does not make you a shady character. What other things about this person make him a shady character? And the bike he was riding was like a small little BMX bike that was really, really undersized for this individual. So she goes, well, his bike seems a little small. And I thought, well, maybe that's one reason why he looks shady. Does that bike even look like it belongs to him? And then, he had this big bulky backpack that looked like he was living out of it. He looked like he was talking to himself. I think he was smoking a cigarette. All of those things individually don't make them untrustworthy, but you put it all together and the totality of it all makes them somebody who you might want to keep your eye out for. All right. And so, my daughter and I have had this conversation multiple times, my son, and, they have a hard time wrapping their head around it because they want to trust everybody and they think that those people are nice people, and they could be nice people, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be watching out for them because at any given moment they might turn and they might try to take advantage of you. So parents, anybody who has a child in their life, I strongly recommend you play this game with the kids because it helps them tap into their sixth sense and their amygdala, their spidey sense, that fight or flight place in their brain that helps keep them alive. And us as developed human beings, we like to overthink or over-rationalize why something isn't right, and it sometimes comes back and bites us in the ass. So anyway, play the shady character game with your kids. Play the shady character game with yourself. If you're a commuter on the bus, on the train, and you see somebody who just doesn't look right, try to quantify why they don't look right, and see if you can come up with 3, 4, maybe even 5 things about them individually that when put together, they make it someone who you need to watch, or a shady character that you need to watch out for. Anyway, hope it helps.